Great. Yeah, let's roll.
Well, Barry, after a game like that for a quarterback, is there anything different this week, or do you approach it any different, or what are the last 48 hours like with him?
Yeah, well, you got to process just like any other Sunday, after a game. Obviously, very disappointed in the outcome, and in particular, the group that I coach, and it was a rough day, and it's part of the game. I'm not saying that's a norm, or would ever want it to be a norm, or want that to be an exception, certainly, to have a day like that. But like, as part of this game is you got to bounce back, and so you process it. All you can do is just go in there and just kind of swallow the frog, so to speak. You just got to eat it, and just say, this isn't real pleasant. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to learn from it, and it's going to make me better. And I'm not just talking about just Luke, but myself and us as coaches and etc. All down the road. But so then you swallow it, you flush it, and then you turn the page to your next opponent. And so I think from that perspective, it's a normal week, and that's how we're going to proceed. Is we got to get better.
How do you help a relatively young quarterback from being discouraged or losing confidence after that?
Yeah, I think when you watch the film, you see how just the razor thin margin of error that there is in the game. So a throw, like the first, maybe the second pick, I think the fade to Casey, it's underthrown by a yard. If it's thrown a yard further, we probably turns into a 50-50 ball. A yard and a half though, it's probably a 70-30 ball, and we just underthrew it. That's things like that. As long as you know the root of what happened and you can fix it, you can fix it. That sounded really stupid when I just said that. But as long as there's a root and you understand what the root cause, was it decision based? Was it throwing based? Was it route based or whatever? When you can get down and peel it back and have an answer, and we do, then you can get those things fixed. And so I think that part was encouraging. That's how you approach it with. Say, look, this is real concrete. This is not abstract. Like, okay, if we do this, this, and this never happens. And so I think when you do that, you give players confidence, and that's the truth. When most mistakes happen, there's a root cause of it, and there's a root solution. And so I think we felt good about how we corrected that in film.
When you look back at those, were they more decision-based? Were they more
hybrid? Yeah. There was the throw-based. One was certainly decision-based, and the first one that we threw, the thinking wasn't flawed, but the decision was. And so as long as your guy can give you good answers, and Luke's always been great to give feedback on all the mistakes he's ever made or the things he does well on the field and practice. Certainly learned that when he sees something, there's a reason why he does it. And but sometimes your greatest strength can be your greatest liability, and a couple times probably saw too much and probably overreacted to it, and he'll learn from it.
You've gotten to know him pretty well, I assume, over the course of the year. Is he the kind of guy that will bounce back from this one? Do you play based on what you've seen from him in the past?
Listen, I haven't asked him this, and but I would assume there's been some game in his past, whether it be junior high or high school or a scrimmage or something, where it's been a really bad day. If he hadn't already had that, then he had one Saturday, but I would assume he's had the days like that and moments like that where he felt like he didn't play his best and really was disappointed in how he played. And so I think he probably dropped. Now, he hasn't done that probably in a magnitude of this environment, but it's all the same on a relative scale. And so I'm confident that any quarterback has had a rough day. They know that they can bounce back. And we're certainly confident that he will, and I know Luke feels that way as well.
Coach, it seems like through the first three games, the score and the flow of the game have kind of dictated things to you. How do you get to a place where you're executing the game plan that you envisioned going into the game?
We have to execute more consistently. That's what we have to do. We have to stay on the field longer. We have to move the ball and sustain drives, and we're not doing that right now. And we're going into game 4 now, and I think it's really important that very quickly we establish a little bit clearer identity of who we are and what we are. Right now we don't have that in a real clear sense. We've put some nice plays together and had some nice drives, but all 3 games in and out, we haven't been near consistent enough establishing and playing the way that we want to play, and that's to no fault other than our own. And we play some good defenses and some good defensive coaches that have good calls and put stress on us, but we've got to establish a clear identity as we get going down here, going into week 4.
What do you think that is, Barry, the identity?
Well, I mean, I think we've certainly identified what our strengths and weaknesses are. I think the line move that we made last week, I think will help solidify kind of and take another step forward. You know, we did that, you know, that move or whatever. You know, you wouldn't expect that to wave a magic wand and all of a sudden guys feel super comfortable in the new positions they're in. I thought they handled it pretty well, all in all, for the short turnaround that they did with the moving of positions. And so I know our identity needs to be and will be here, that we got to be more effective in running the football and be more balanced, and got to take care of the ball and have early down success. That doesn't mean we got to be more conservative, but we have to be we have to establish our identity just a little bit clearer. And it's been in bits and pieces, it's been flashes, but we have yet to put a game together that looks like and feels like the game that we want it to look like, as far as playing with a good amount of pace, but also injecting, you know, shifts, movements, emotions, and being balanced in our run and our pass concepts.
I assume time and score play a big role, but how do you know when the right time is to maybe go to John in a game like Saturday versus let Luke have another drive or two? Is there an indicator for you?
Not really. I mean, I think that was just kind of the point where, like, look, okay, you know, the last mistake, you know, was when we were backed up in third and whatever, and you know, I mean, it was like a perfect storm of events there in a negative way. I mean, I think Luke saw Casey open. The defender kind of slingshotted himself in front of Casey at the last minute, and I think at that point in time, you know, I just made a decision, and Coach and I just kind of talked quickly about it. It was a knee-jerk reaction. I told Luke this, was like, listen, it's been a rough day. We're going to give John an opportunity and just let you kind of digest this. I think anything else out there is probably not really fair to him, to be honest with you. You know, it's like, it's been a rough day, and like, let's recover, let's regroup here, and sometimes you got to do that. And so he understood that, and I think John came in and did a nice job for us. And you know, I think his emotions were really pumping, and his energy was pumping early and settled in. And John, we know who John is. He's going to compete, and he's a veteran guy that understands football very well. But you know, I'm truly, and I mean this, I'm truly excited about the opportunity to bounce back. And you know, you only get so many of these opportunities during the season, and I'm excited to help Luke and our football team offensively bounce back. It'll be a great challenge. I got a great deal of respect. I was familiar with FAU when I was in the conference, you know, before, and obviously it's a new coaching staff with Coach Herman, but I know his background and the way they play and the athletes that they play with. It'll be a great challenge, but I'm excited about embracing this opportunity. You know, that one's come and gone. That one's behind us, and so all you can do is look forward to what's ahead.
What does jump out at you about the FAU defense?
Speed. That's one thing I remember very clearly. Their back end, their speed, they're talented, quick and fast. I thought probably in that league that I came from, Conference USA, they were probably the fastest, twitchiest defense that we had played against during the time that I was there.
I guess in terms of establishing the run, does that mean maybe leaning more on Reggie, who's shown some good stuff through 3 weeks, or trying Caden and Aiden more? Like, what's the approach?
Yeah, I think it's all that. I think Reggie established himself for his consistency. I thought he performed really well on Saturday and ran really hard and did a really nice job. And so we got to have all those guys. I mean, for us to be able to run, it's got to be a by committee. You know, we need. We need more from those other guys' opportunity. I think Caden flashed and did well. Aiden as well. So I think there's room for all of those guys. I know that's certainly Thad and I. We've talked about that. Coach B, we want all those guys involved to some degree, and we need Josh to have a good week this week. And but Reggie certainly did a nice job last week and improved his consistency and his reliability.
What did you see from the younger guys that got in late during the game, or even during the game? I know Malik played a little bit more.
Yeah,
Caden
Malik.
played more.
Yeah.
Did
There was a lot of
those
young guys
have-
that played. You know, it was great to see Malik make his first play, and I think he had 2 catches during the game. And Kanare got in there and caught a ball. Ashton had a huge moment in the game. You know, so I think that's really encouraging for just the depth of our room as far as the receivers go. I mean, Aiden presented himself, made a nice catch in the open field. Caden ran hard. He's heavy. He's thick now. He falls forward, but he's also not a slug. He can move. He's got some quick twitch to him. So I think we got a good bunch of young guys that have injected themselves and took advantage of their opportunity, and we go back to work this week, continue to grow, get more familiar with the system and the roles that we're asking them to have.
What kind of led you to make those tweaks in offensive line? What will a full week mean for those guys?
Say one more time, I missed that.
Yeah, I guess, what led you guys to make those offensive line tweaks, and what will a full week mean for those guys?
Yeah, a full week will be great and beneficial, to build just to be able to practice at their spots. And you know, to be familiar and comfortable. And really, at the end of the day, I mean, like, you know, we're always trying to figure out what our best lineup is at every position, and just, you know, after watching you going through the first couple of weeks, and we just played you know, our whole goal offensively and our coaching staff in general on all sides of the ball in all phases is to, you want to minimize your weaknesses and maximize your strengths, and so we're just trying to piecemeal that together the best we felt that was best for our football team. And Isaiah has played tackle, and you know, Julian has played tackle, and Zai played tackle all spring in camp, did a nice job there. But Zai also has a whole year of banked reps at guard, and so we thought that would be a way to maximize who we were, is to make those switches.
Barry?
You talk about establishing your identity, and you've been in 11 personnel so often this year. How do you feel about 12 personnel and having maybe that extra tight end on the field?
Yeah, sure. We were in 12 a little bit the other day, and again, you know, probably got a little skewed through some of these games because of, especially the first two, you know, that's all.
Score?
Yeah, that's from the score a little bit. So, you know, we want to be an 11 and 12 base team, and 12 has not showed up near as much as 11 probably for some of those reasons. But I'm extremely confident in our 12 personnel grouping. I think we got 4 tight ends that can play and play good football for us, and they all are on the field on Saturday. So I think that's something that we've got to continue to have multiple groupings. I think we played in 3 groupings the other day, maybe 4, I can't remember. We actually played in 13 personnel a couple of plays, which is something that you know, shows confidence in the tight end group, you know. And so, but that is 12 is something that certainly we need to inject more, I think, into all groupings. You know, we got to continue. We don't want to be an 11. We don't want to be just an 11 personnel grouping. We don't want to just run out there and run, you know, 75 or 60 of our 70 plays in 11. We want to be more multiple than that. And part of that is, you know, we got to stay on the field to get more continuity and more execution to where we have more opportunities to do that within the flow of the series.
Did you feel the offense overall made progress in how well it moved the ball outside of the turnovers?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. There's so much tarnishes, you know. I mean, to turn the ball over that much is just obviously not acceptable, and you know, it kind of just, it's hard to peel that back. There was moments, yes, you know, there were moments that we were like, we were moving the football, and Penn State's got a really good defense, athletic, twitchy, and fast, and faster than what we had seen, you know, up until that. And so I think some of that caused some of the disruption, but there certainly was. I mean, like, you don't want to sound like a broken record in front of our team. When I talked to them, like, there were signs of life, there were signs of good offensive play, but just not near enough of them. And then the turnovers just disrupted any flow that you had during the course of the game. And those are things that we can control. So the bottom line is we just got to execute better. Going into week 4, we've got to get to where we can have a more consistent operation for our football team to be effective.
When you say full week with the line at the new positions, did you guys make that switch like last Tuesday, or is it something that kind of came?
Yeah, I'm just saying a full week, like, you know, Sunday, Monday to Tuesday, like there was, yeah, I mean, those guys had some ample time to practice, but nonetheless, it's a short week, it's just short notice, you know, and but to be able to have the mentality of like, okay, I just played a game on Saturday, and now Sunday I'm going to play this. It's going to be the same on Sunday and on Monday, and my preparation and how I'm thinking about I'm going to play this game and what position I'm going to play in. I think there's some merit to that could help us grow between what happened last week and this.
How do you decide when to use Jordan as sort of that 6-man offensive line? Because I felt like it gave you some good stuff.
Yeah, we love Jordan. I mean, like, he's so consistent, and he played a lot of football for us last year. I think so. If you know the way we played the other day, we had Geske and Zai at guards, and Jordan was really is the swing man interiorly all 3 of those positions, right? So center, guard, and just I think Bart just goes on feel of like when it's Jordan, you know, does Zai need a rest? Does Geske potentially need a rest? You know, and so that's kind of what happened last year was Zai and Jordan played a lot at that spot together and rotated, and I think that's a positive thing for Jordan to build somebody we trust and value, his consistency and his demeanor. We have full confidence in him to play any of those positions. So I don't know if it's more of like, okay, we're trying to mitigate some of the reps for the other guys. Like, we don't want him to play a full 75 play game or 70 play game. So we know ahead of time we're going to rotate Jordan in the 3rd series or the 4th series to help mitigate some of those reps.